Hello, everyone. Welcome to Focus Locus Presents The Lovelights. Very excited about this one. So The Lovelights is a children's television show in development that celebrates art, music, nature, friendship, kindness, curiosity, and community. The show is set in Turner's Falls, and it features a family of quirky, artistic, and magical sisters, all with very great names, who find themselves on a series of adventures when they discover fairies living in their town. Fairy families living in their town. So we are very excited to feature the Lovelights. The Lovelights was actually a recipient of one of the Northampton Open Media grants. So as you can sort of see from the Zoom preview, we will be joined by a series of people after we show the initial pilot episode to have a little conversation. So if you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube, prepare to send your questions and your comments so we can have a great discussion after the pilot episode, which is about 31 minutes. So as soon as I start it, we will have 30 minutes to go. Very excited to share this with everyone. We had to postpone this episode when we originally scheduled it. So this has been a couple weeks coming. So without further ado, this is The Lovelights.
Just when I fear I'm falling out of favor, you appear with love light in your eyes, and it gives me peace of mind to know that you're my neighbor. Whatever comes of all my enterprise, and you may not save the world, but then again you may, in the number of the times you save the day. Flora and fauna, novella and art, cello, viola, elder and spot, Mr. Harbinger, Cordelia, and Zane. When I wake up, I hear your voice outside my window. You chat on this and that while the children play, and I realize it's Saturday on K Street, and I wouldn't have Cheers, sister.
Oh, how I love shining down on K Street. This is the house where the Lovelights sisters grew up, and their cousin Cordelia lives right next door in her very own playhouse. Chella, the eldest, and Viola, the youngest, still live here together.
Good morning, Chella.
Good morning, Viola. Now I'm shining in their window and seeing them have their morning tea. Viola is getting ready for work at the Montague Reporter. And Chella is caught up in her picture books again, even though she does need to get ready for the ladies' club tea party they are hosting this afternoon.
We haven't got all day, so they say, but we do. Don't you know that the day does belong to you, and every treasure waits. The whole day lies ahead, and now you're with a friend, and that means this could never be a wasted day. Just look at the clock and the friendly hours, and we will beautify the room. And at 3, we'll have the ladies' club to tea, and I'll pick up the cake at the bakery.
Exploding little songs, little bird songs. Exploding little worlds, little worlds. Exploding little songs, little bird songs. Exploding little worlds, little worlds. Ocean, ocean, the birds are our friends. Cataloging your love to the end. On a whim, you find it within. Okay, take off and let it begin. Hearing little songs, little bird songs. Hearing little worlds, little worlds. Loving little songs, little bird songs. Loving little worlds, little worlds. Unfolding words I use to compose, to show those little birds where to go. On a hole, my heart is so cold. The blood in my veins, little world, little now, little birds, little love. How I need to be with
Fauna, don't sleep in there. The DPW will seal you in a trash bag.
Ooh, that would be terrible. But I would save myself with the gift that the rose tree gave me.
Hello.
This is the Second Street Bakery on 4th Street calling. Cordelia never came to pick up the cake for the ladies' club tea party today.
What's that you say? Oh dear, the cake. Then I'm on my way.
Oh, that's a drop of maple sap. How fine a hostess you are. And to stay in this palace is an honor fit for the Queen of Fairies. You've rescued me, and now I am your humble servant forever.
Oh, I won't hold you to that. But it's a wish come true to have you as my friend.
This party's not the same without Cordelia. And it's not the same without the cake. And Elda sent this note with this tape saying that she couldn't make it today. Oh, Elda. I hope she doesn't miss out on all the fun because she's so shy.
My head hurts, she said, unable to take the call. But really what she wants is to stay home, to see her friends and neighbors dancing in aqueous halls. Mermaid strums the harp, the strings make the
But where can Fauna be? I must search for her, because I know she would do the same for me. But if I leave the planter, I will surely be spotted, or swatted, and I have no idea at all where she could be. Dear. What are you trying to tell me?
Check. Well, Hitty, now you can't win. I hadn't won yet, but this means I win. Well, if you're so sore about it, why don't we go dance? Flora!
We have to get out of here. We have to get back to the planters where we're safe.
Oh, we're not safe there. I was poisoned with pesticides. And look at this.
What's wrong with purple petunia?
They want to dig up everything else.
You're telling me our whole world is coming to an end, and you're dancing with a doll?
It's just a proposal. The town meeting about it is tomorrow, and I'm forming a plan. Dancing helps me focus.
The party is in full swing next door. What a day for fainting fairies.
What's happening? What's happening?
She's taking this quite well.
Hitty and Fauna were only going to peek in the window. And then we're going to the theater.
Flora!
She hasn't quite got your spunk, has she, Fauna?
Well, I showed her the article, and of course that came as a shock.
Oh, of course! Well, I really must do something. Oh, that prissy, petulant, pretty... Please! Perhaps I can use my influence in this town to do something about this.
What are you going to do?
I'm going back to that tea party.
everyone. Please excuse me for arriving so late, but while I have your attention, I have an announcement to make. I am forming a horticultural society to take charge of the town planters and preserve them from a plague of purple petunias, for which I happen to be allergic. All new members, please sign here, and you will be swept up in summer of gardening and galas and many blisses of botany. Side by side, we tenderly tend the roses, zinnias, ranunculus, and lilies, and ever-blooming variety of posies that will be lost from downtown forever. If this ranunculus monocrop mania is allowed to take over. Thank you.
I won't wear a shrub like if I care when I'm in my room or in the open air. I actually care when this pretty place dismisses me. My mind goes supernova. This dress fits me well, it won't fit you. I made it for myself, it's tailored to be true. And I won't wear a shrug. The restrictions set both men and women onto arm and shoulder. Little dog comes to rescue. Save me from the well that I fell into. This captures my mood.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Focus Locus Presents The Lovelights. Thank you to our viewers for watching the pilot episode of The Lovelights with us. And I am Liz. I'm your host for tonight. Just to catch everyone up, Focus Locus is a semi-weekly series, usually on Wednesday nights, where we show a piece of local media and then do a Q&A with the creators. It's a really fun way of sort of talking about how to make local media and giving people ideas from our membership. About things that they can make. So tonight we watched The Lovelights, which is a children's television series that is currently in development. This is the first pilot. This is the pilot episode, the first episode. It celebrates art and music and nature and friendship and kindness and curiosity and community. It's set in Turner's Falls, and I think it's a really beautiful celebration of Turner's Falls. So tonight I am joined by the writer of the series, Beverly Ketch, who also plays Chella, Abby Rusk, who plays Elda, and Hannah Brookman, who is credited as the editor and plays Viola. But of course, as you've seen from the show, this is a beast of a program, and I'm sure that we're going to hear a lot about all of the other ways that people have contributed to the show itself. So, and Abby's also the assistant director. So do you guys want to say hi?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Great. Thank you all for coming. So I wanted to get us started by talking about the concept, where this idea came from, how it first formed. So that's really a question for Beverly. Do you want to tell us about where this was born in your mind?
Well, I first moved to Turner's Falls 10 years ago. And one of when I first drove up to see this house that I live in now, and that's when it was for sale, when we went to drive past it, there was a passel of little kids sitting on the front step. And I was like, oh, there's kids sitting on the step of this house that's for sale. And as soon as we bought the house, I mean, it was the cutest little group of kids. And when we bought the house, I was, sort of roaming around the empty house, and I looked out the window, and this little tiny child came like right up to the window and peeked in. And this was my darling neighbor, Valoria, who now has become a dear, dear friend and is one of the fairies in the program. And she really has a fairy nature. And the neighborhood is incredibly friendly. And it was just instantaneous that I fell in love with this neighborhood. And so when I thought of the idea, I have this funny old back porch, and I was working on the children's page for the Montague Reporter, and I had a lot of toys and funny things out on this little area out in the back, and I thought of the idea of creating a story where a fairy, a woman is making a character who's making the children's page, has made a dollhouse for the children's page out of shoe boxes. And when she goes out in the morning to look at her work, there's a fairy asleep in the dollhouse. And that was the original idea that I had. And it's funny because we never did use that exact idea. But it revolved around the fact that I had these children friends in my neighborhood who loved fairies. I was working on the children's page, and then it was a sort of an evolution of that I told to you, Hannah, right? I mean, when I said I want to do a fairy show, and Hannah was just, as soon as she heard the idea, immediately said, yes, she wanted to do that project with me. And I had thought of it even originally just being a storybook, because a children's show seemed out of reach to me. But Hannah said, no, we can do a show. So she elevated it to that.
I think we were just really excited about making a project together. And so we wanted to do something really big. And it was actually a way that you invited me into your whole community and introduced me to all of your friends, was making this show together. I had just moved here, and Bev was one of my first friends.
Abby, do you want to talk about how you got involved?
Similarly, I had never worked on anything even close to this, let alone something as big as this. So when Beverly asked me if I wanted to do it, it sounded very fun. And of course I wanted to hang out and do that. And really every step along the way, it's just been so revealing, to have an idea, to see it into fruition, to see what it becomes. It's been really nice.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about inspirations. So I called this a psychedelic kids show, which you are all completely at will allowed to say is not what you would categorize it as.
I think that's what anyone would call it.
So let's talk about what inspirations did you have while writing this, Beverly? And then Hannah and Abby, who had a larger sort of role in the video production aspect. What did you want it to look like?
Well, I was just really excited about doing a live action fairy show for one reason, was because there aren't that many of them. I mean, go ahead and Google it. And I thought I'd Google that and there'd be so much, why the heck aren't there? Because it's the funnest idea and it's pretty much within reach. Why haven't there been tons of them? I mean, it's pretty hard to find. There are some cool films that have live action fairy stuff, but they're not even children's shows, like they're per se. So anyway, that was part of it. I was just really excited, like, wow, surely people will love this. Why isn't there tons of this? I mean, there should be 1,000 such shows. That was my opinion.
And then obviously, like, Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse and other things, and we would talk a lot about different shows and movies that inspired us. But we wanted ours to be a little maybe more kind and feminine and beautiful.
That's a very good answer.
Yeah.
Where do I want to go from there? So Yeah, I think I like that answer of kind and feminine and beautiful. I think that sort of is a really good transition actually into the next question, which is about so for people who don't know, who are watching, Focus Locus, we've done I think 2 episodes about children's programming. I'm only remembering one, which was with Tepper's Tots, and I think that children's programming is really interesting because it has a whole other set of questions you have to ask yourself when you're getting started, particularly, you know, what do you want a child audience to take away is very different than what you want an adult audience to take away. So I wanted to hear from you all about sort of what answers to those questions did you have, or what were the questions that you ended up asking yourself? And maybe the answer is kindness and beauty, but I'm sure there's a lot more to it also, especially because there are children actors.
I have an answer. I think it's empowering kids to be able to make their dreams come true or make their own world. A lot of what we do in the show is not very perfect or clean. Like you can see the way the animations are done. And like see that we just kind of threw it together in a way. And I think that's something
it's within children's reach to create something comparable.
Yeah, and we would bring kids in to work with us a lot. I mean, both the fairies, Effie and Valoria, played a significant role in creating their part, and so did Cordelia, Annabelle. And then we had other kids who would come and help us build fairy houses and things like that. So we wanted kids to help make it. And it's also an idea for, we think about this show, this is a pilot, and we want it to continue growing and to have all of these other elements to it. So we have so many ideas for what's to come in all of these different segments that maybe kids will help develop more as we kind of can get a ball rolling. Yeah.
Beverly, did you have something to say?
Oh, I was going to say that one big thing that was really important to me was that in the story, it's the grown-up character. It becomes discontent and discombobulated, and it's the child character who helps her. Because I felt like when I was seeing children's shows, I felt like kids were kind of getting force-fed facts as if they just were so obliged to learn so much. And I wanted to celebrate what kids were like already, and these incredible, incredible, resourceful little beings that they are, whether they can read or write or not. You know, like they can bring so much magic and so much insight, and they can lift you up when all your adult stuff and everything you know is not solving anything. And I really wanted to, that's what that scene is meant to celebrate. And I hope that the show celebrates the power that kids already have. And also, on another little note, it's a little different. I did, even though I think it maybe remained obscure to some people who saw the show, that the child comes in and solves the problem that the fairies are in trouble by organizing her friends in local government situation. You know, like it's the select lady who wants to dig up all the planters and, you know, they have to become involved in local politics. That is something that, you know, her sense of that she has that power already. No grown-up is telling her to do that. She's saying, I'm going to organize my friends and I'm going to set this right. Sort of this sense that kids already have the ball rolling as opposed to kind of, they need to be told everything they must do or something like that. That was a big deal to me. And I mean, Pippi Longstocking, if you talk about inspiration, I mean, that's huge. Just the idea of the already capable, the already magical, empowered child. That was, I wouldn't have wanted to do the show any other way than that.
That's a great answer. Abby, do you want to add anything or do we want to move on?
I think we can move on, but I do just want to say, to reiterate that, you know, Effie and Valoria, they came up with their own characters, but they were also there behind the scenes with us. You know, when we were shooting, you know, green screening and stuff, they had their own ideas about what they wanted things to look like and stuff like that. And it was really, really great to see kids just naturally want to do that.
That's great. So from there, I want to talk a bit about since local media like this really always sort of involve, especially with that involves a very large cast of people sort of take on many different hats. You're all wearing hats for this live stream. Is very good. Good way to frame this, really. So I wanted.
And Scoot is wearing a scarf.
Oh, hello. Scoot plays Spot.
Yes. He developed his own role also.
But yeah, so will you talk a little bit about the different roles that different artists took on, and especially because this is such a mixed media format, I can imagine that the amount of ideas in the room must have been incredible. So what did everyone do?
Okay, well, Bev wrote the script and organized and cast everybody. I think that was a big way to kick it off. And then I had never really done much filming or editing before, but I took on that role and learned how to do it the whole time. I had an idea of how green screens would work. And so we all learned how to do that together and figured that out. I think Abby did a lot of animation and helped with that a lot. Our friend Sarah was doing a lot of filming with us. We all built fairy houses. We all collected costumes. We all built sets. I ended up building a lot of sets and a lot of costumes. I kind of go all out and I kind of can't stop. So I did a lot.
A lot of the aesthetic does need to be attributed to Hannah and her
Yes.
Her costumes, big ideas.
Yeah, it has that incredible, fantastical element where you could watch it a million times and every time you see something else, particularly in the sets. But also, Abby, will you talk a little bit about the animation?
Well, Hannah taught me how to do some stop motion animation. So I got to do a little bit, as for instance, the doll in the dollhouse, it's the simplest thing. And we even set up something we had during filming when we invited so many kids to come be in the film. While they were waiting to be filmed, we had set up their own little stop motion animation station. So it's actually something that's really easy to do. It takes a little bit of patience, but it's very fun to make a toy come to life and see it act out the thing that you're imagining it to do.
What was your sort of favorite animation aspect to do for everybody?
Well, I mean, I did the doll. Hannah also did so much. There's the book of characters that come alive while is looking. All these characters, she made them all come alive.
The Grandma Moses.
Yes.
I love that part.
The book is
very cool. Just the green screening of the children and everything on top of it, that was Hannah's deal. She could probably talk way more about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was animation that was stop motion, and there's also a lot of like paper animation in there, which was kind of scanned in. And then I just learned how to do keyframing, which isn't that hard, but just collaging videos and collaging downloads from YouTube a lot of the time, like, grass that's kind of moving and like, I don't know how live we are, but I'm seeing what's going on the screen now. And it's like, I'll collage like PNGs to like make a bush that I can have her peek out of, but then I'll have to like drag her around and I can make fairies like fly all over the place. It's really fun. And I never thought I would be excited about computer arts, but it's really fun to do this kind of video collage. I really love it.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear that this was sort of a beginning foray into green screen for you, because some of the green screen is so ambitious and incredibly creative and very cool. I love when there's sort of the cutout paper window and behind it is something like the green screen where, I don't know, it makes the whole thing feel like a picture book in a way.
Oh yeah, this cutout paper window. Yeah, it was really fun to do some drawn sets and to have people act completely in front of the green screen. And what's amazing is that we have a huge green screen studio in Turner's Falls. There's a place, it's an old church called Fast Lights Lighting Studio, and they let us film in their green screen. So we filmed a lot of scenes there. And we had some events there where we had put posters up and invited kids to come and be in the show, and had a decent crowd. We had a rack of costumes, and just one after the next, they would come and do a little thing on stage and then go.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's amazing, actually, and is a great transition into, I want to talk about the local connection of this, because this is very much a show set in Turner's Falls. It's a show about Turner's Falls. The Montague Reporter is a character, and as you just said, I'm very interested in that sort of community-based, to have almost like a party where people can just come and then they're in the show. So if you could talk about, what is it like making a show about Turner's Falls and making Turner's Falls make a show with you?
Well, it was falling in love with Turner's Falls, as I was saying before, that was the impetus for the show, this new home and this sense of this new place. I really do love it here and love it on my street, on K Street. And it is something also that I believe philosophically, a sense of place and the value of your own place is so great. And I was hoping, and I hope in years to come, that kids from this town, really get to see this more. I mean, I wonder if we could maybe show it in the schools or something, because I would love it to be, I love the idea of embracing where you're from, instead of imagining some other place is great, or other place is the ideal or the magical place, your own place, And people do tend to love Turner's Falls. I think we fall in love with this town.
Anyone else?
I mean, Turner's Falls, it's such a quirky little cute town already. I mean, what is it, the 2nd Street Bakery, 4th Street Bakery on 2nd Street Bakery on 4th Street, it was so it already exists, that's actually, I think, my favorite scene. Dot called the bakery and got on our motorcycle.
And the art scene around here is incredible too. So that's kind of, wow. I mean, the music scene and the art scene of this area, Northampton and Turner's, and just this area that we're all kind of based around, incredible group of people to draw from who are happy to contribute. And there's zero hangups. It was all like, boy, I mean, remember that thing where you just put out the word, we needed one more little song, and you put out the word on Facebook, Hannah, and it was just like, boom, Sam Gascan came up with this amazing, perfect thing in no time. I mean, we had so many people, and they were happy, they were excited because it was something different, It's sort of like, we had one song that I had a beautiful friend of mine create a part for, but it was a little too melancholy because it had to be the cheer me up song. And at the last final moment, somebody came through with the right cheerful accompaniment to that song that I'd written. It was totally a cappella, and we were like sweating it out till the end. Like, when will this happen? That we'll write music, because the other part was so beautiful, but it was just a little too melancholy to go with the story. So it was nice that worked out. So many amazing artists and musicians around.
And on the opposite end of that, like, some of the songs were written before we even shot, like the scene with the mermaids. That song was written before it was even the season to shoot it in. So we got to.
But it was written for the show. I think nearly all of the music was composed for the episode, which is really cool.
Yeah. Will you talk a little bit about the theme song, which I love very much?
Bev wrote that.
Yeah, the theme song. I mean, the funny thing is, when I wrote that song, I wrote it for my friends on K Street. And I wrote it about how much I love them. And, we were thinking, and it was later, we started making the show, and we were a good bit of the way into doing it, not too far, but, we'd gotten it rolling. And it dawned on me, I've already written the theme song. It came out so naturally to go with the show when it was about my friends. And I sing the names of the people that are in the show in the middle. But when I originally, I sang the names of my friends on K Street, Kevin and Pam and Bridget and Anne, you know, like because I just happened to move into like, I mean, imagine having that experience, you know, moving to a new house and just absolutely loving all your neighbors. I mean, that's a kind of a miracle. So that song's about that. And it worked. And the show is a celebration of life in this town and life with my friends here. So.
Did people choose their own character names?
I think Bev chose our
We
character.
chose Elda. I chose a bunch of them. Viola was because the idea, I based all the characters on the people. So, I mean, when Hannah became Viola, it was because voila, she does everything. She makes it happen. She made this show happen. She did all the effects. She encouraged me to actually do it instead of just a book or, you know, some other version. And Elda, I was with Abby, and I found this old gardening book where she was living at the time, written by someone named Elda, and we both were looking at it, and I was like, how about this name, Abby? And she was like, yes, Elda. Elda will be the name.
Annabelle chose her name, right? Annabelle chose
Annabelle made her name, though. Yes, Annabelle chose her name. That was so cool. I had thought that Annabelle is actually from New York. So, and she's my friend's daughter, and I just love her. And I had thought, oh, I'll just green screen her in to be a mermaid because she's obsessed by mermaids. Like everything on Facebook her mom posted was her dressed as a mermaid. So I was like, well, of course we should just screen her in. You know, she's all the way in New York. And then they came for a visit, and I told her the whole story of the show and did she want to be a mermaid? And she's an actress, a serious actress. So it was so cute. We were sitting in a little cafe, and she was, what was she at the time? 7 or 6 or something. She looked right at me and she said, because I told her about this idea of little Lovelights that Valoria had come up with. And she said, I don't think I want to be a mermaid. I'd like to be a little Lovelight. And I said, and what do you think your name would be? And she just sat for a minute. She looked right back in. About 4 seconds later, she said, Cordelia. And I was like, wow, this kid gets it big time. She is such an amazing kid. And I love that she was ready to jump in and kind of be one of the big players in it instead of just to do just be a mermaid in the background or something.
I'm really interested in this sort of lore around the concept of the Lovelights. I feel like there's this very interesting philosophical component. Where did the idea of the Lovelights come from? Is that something that already existed, or is that entirely your own?
Well, I just wanted to call it the Lovelights, and because there's all these people that just walk through the world, and when you cross their path, maybe they give you a little smile, or something they do gives you a lift. They're the people having fun, the people that make life fun, and whose love light shines out of their eyes. And I guess more than anything, I wanted the show to be a celebration of that.
I love that. Beautiful. So we have sort of run through our questions, and I want to talk about what comes next, because this is a pilot, and it definitely feels like a pilot. It feels like you want to see episode 2. So what comes next in this storyline? What should we be looking forward to?
We are working on episode 2. We started it, before the pandemic, and it's been on hold. We knew that maybe the viewers probably wanted more of Fairy World, so we're trying to deliver on that and to try to really go into what Fairy World is. Yeah.
And Fairy World exists.
A bunch of dream sequences.
And dream sequences.
Great.
Is going to happen, which is an idea. I think one thing we didn't talk about in our references is there's a lot of kind of like classic old movie scenes that we really like and recreate a lot. And so I think maybe in this dream sequence episode is going to reference a lot of that.
Will there be more sort of community involved? It's a good way to do it. Sort of crowdfunded people crowdsourced people coming in and being a part of it.
Definitely.
Well, we did shoot this already, and there were so many people just hanging out in Turner's who wanted to just be part of this quick little scene where we say goodnight to them.
Yes, I love that. Oh my goodness. we just walked through town and everyone we ran into, we asked him to be in it. It was so incredible.
We just had to say, good night, Elda, and everyone did it. It was really cute.
Including this funny little gang of kids on bikes.
But I was going to say, one thing we haven't talked about at all is Fairy House Day, which is kind of a big thing that we started doing to set the stage for the show. It's like all of the scenes that you see of the Fairy House Village, that's footage from Fairy House Day, which was an event that we put on where we invited people to build fairy houses, and we put them in the town planters. And then we had celebration all on Avenue A. It's called Fairy House on Avenue A, and we did it twice. The first one, we had, performers and people singing, and we all dressed up, and we had the most beautiful picnic contest, and we did shadow puppets in the library. That was a fun thing. So the Lovelights is also a theater troupe, and we've continued to do performances like within the past few months. Even we did a Halloween performance at a graveyard and in Epsilon Spires in a church parking lot. So there's a puppet show that day, and then our other friends performed this like wild mermaid song and dance. And then we went to the park, and there was the turkey. Oh no, the turkey came the second year. The second year was our opening. It was our episode release, Fairy House Day. So it was a huge event that actually we really pulled off. And there's videos of all of these on YouTube and on our website, because we put on a live show for that one. Which we really prepared for, and had maybe a cast of like 25 or something.
That's incredible.
There's a lot of people, including a goat who was a unicorn.
Yes, not a goat. There was a unicorn. It was so cute because after that, my friend said she overheard some kids talking about it. One of the kids referred to it as a goat, and the other kid was very indignant, saying that was not a goat, but a unicorn.
Wow. So so there will be more live stuff coming.
Definitely. Yeah. Bev's actually already talking about, I don't know if it's necessarily Lovelights, but talking about doing the importance of being earnest, because we've done, some other theater performances together. The other thing about the Lovelights is we're a group of friends who do a lot of projects together, not just this one.
But was it Midsummer Night's Dream? Was that?
Yeah, we did that
too. Right. That wasn't exactly a love light thing, but it was.
No, but we were all in it.
It was
my good
other
friend
people
Mary
too, but it was definitely something for us to be together. And yeah, so maybe it would be kind of a Love Light Theater presents the importance of being earnest.
Yeah, so
right now it's just something fun to work on during COVID. We can all try to memorize lines and think of ideas.
Yeah. So for our viewers who are still with us, if you have any questions, last minute questions, feel free to send them in the chat. But I would love to hear from all of you about what our viewers what websites should they go to, what should they keep their eye out for next, or any other sort of messages you want to give the people watching.
In February, I don't exactly know when, but the soundtrack DVD bonus episode CD combo pack is coming out, put out by our friend Rob at Sedimental Records. So that's exciting that they wanted to do that. It's something we always kind of dreamed of, and we wanted to be able to put our DVD in libraries. So now we'll have a nice one to do that with. And I'm also planning on printing a little book to go with it. And the book will be like a small archive of some of the children's page cartoons, because that's something that also corresponds with this, is that the three of us kind of also work on this. We do the children's page for the Montague Reporter every month. And a lot of them follow a Lovelights storyline, and then some of them also follow a DPW Bev storyline, and then some of them are just kind of one-offs. But I'm trying to compile all of the Lovelights and DPW Bev ones into a little book that I'm going to print, and that can maybe go along with the CD and DVD.
And we do have a website. It's the lovelightstv.wordpress.com. And you can see some news and updates there. You can see the video and photos and donate if you feel inclined.
Yes, please, if you feel inclined. This is a gigantic project, and even though many very enthusiastic people are involved, I can't imagine how the more resources, the better, it seems. And, you know, we talked a little bit about budget fantasy before we went live, and I think that this is an incredible project with like a lot of heart, an incredible amount of heart, and I think it's really great to have it in the world, especially our little world in Western Massachusetts. So thank you all so much for talking to me. If you want to say goodnight to our viewers for Focus Locus.
Thank you.
Viewers, and thank you. You are wonderful.
All right, I'm going to take us off of live, and we can have a little chat before we go. But good night, Focus Locus. Thank you for viewing. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.